Hi guys, so I'm here today with my Twisted review, and yeah, let's get started. So I thought it was just really awkward, Lacey walks into the school and, she's actually the only one actually at school because, Danny's expelled and Joe's faking sick. But yeah, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like that must really suck for Lacey. Everyone's just staring at her, and not in the good way, It's because they saw her hook up with Danny. And then there's Sarita and Phoebe and that other girl over there, and they're kind of just staring at her like, I can't believe you. And yeah, I'm just like all of their lives are completely ruined now. I just feel really bad for Joe because, she's in love or was in love with Danny. So it's like, I can't believe you guys didn't tell me because you guys are supposed to be your closest friends, or, she thought they were building that relationship back up. And, to her, it's like, you don't care about me at all, And, I felt bad for Karen because, since Danny's expelled and everything, Danny's like, oh, I could get a job, while we're looking for schools and everything. And I'm just like, this really sucks. Like, I don't know. All of them have a pretty bad life. I mean, I guess you could say Lacey had the best life in the beginning, but not really because all her friends are really sucky. Maybe not to her, but like, they're not good people. But anyways, and yeah, and then you see Lacey have that flashback about how when she was friends with Regina and everything, Phoebe was the outcast. And, they're just talking about her and Phoebe's just standing there, by herself. And they're staring at her and Lacey's like, yeah, now I can relate. Because she's basically in Phoebe's shoes now. And oh my gosh. Lacey's locker, like, that was the rudest thing ever. Like, they didn't even put notes in her locker. They freaking spray painted her locker, like, all over it. It says slut, whore, socio lover, stuff like that. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. Like, how does the school even, like, allow that? I mean, don't you have cameras and stuff? I mean, who lets you bring in a spray can bottle, don't know how to say that, a spray paint bottle, and just spray somebody's locker? No. Like, that was horrible. And, I was really shocked at Lacey when she went up to Archie, and I was like, what are you doing? Like, are you crazy? Like, you just broke up with this guy. Like, one, he probably doesn't even want to talk to you. And two, I mean, Archie's Archie. Like, why would you want to talk to him at all? I just don't understand. I'm just like, Lacey, what are you doing? Like, you can't get your life back together. And I felt like she was kind of, like, trying to suck up to Archie so she could get back in. And I'm like, no. Like, don't even talk to him. And, I felt really bad for Joe, and Rico came over and he's basically trying to cheer up and everything, and he's like, what's that saying, when you look back you trip over stuff in front of you? And I'm just like, okay. I really do love Rico. Rico has that funny, awkward humor. Like, how can you not love him? And and Danny's like, Danny's just off to the side, and of course he always thinks he has to fix everything. And I felt really bad because he's talking to Lacey and he's like, Lacey, we need to go over and we need to talk to Joe. And I'm like, I don't know why, but Danny thinks he can fix everything, and he can't. Like, when things go wrong, Danny, sometimes you just have to let them go. But I understand, Joe's his closest friend. I mean, you're gonna fight for your best friend no matter what. It's completely understandable. And I was really glad that, Joe's dad is not necessarily, I mean, he wouldn't say this, but necessarily sticking up for Danny, but there are other clues pointing to other people, and if you're a real police, like, station or whatever, then you would follow all clues. But no, they're just trying to pin it on Danny. And, basically the mayor brings in that, the new detective to basically help pin it on Danny. And I'm like, what kind of police station is this? Like, this town is not fair at all. I mean, if you hate people, just stay away from them. Like, I don't get it. And oh my gosh, I knew this was gonna happen, but, Danny and Lacey go over to talk to Joe, and Lacey's like, Joe, I had no idea. When Rico told me about the video, and she's like, Joe's face is like, what? Because, you know, of course Rico isn't trying to get in trouble. Like, Joe's his only friend, I guess. But yeah, she's like, oh my gosh. You knew Rico? And I'm just like, oh my gosh, that so sucks for him. And, you know, he doesn't want to be in that position, which is exactly why he didn't say anything. But yeah, I'm just like, that really sucks. And, you know, Joe's basically like, get out, all of you. And I'm just like, poor Rico. I mean, he tries to, you know, he tries to be that good friend, but I don't know. It just doesn't work for him. And he gets put in really bad situations lately. I'm just really glad that Danny's trying to make amends with people, though. I mean, you know, he apologizes to Lacey and everything, you know, for even hooking up with her and stuff, but at the same time, it's like, it's really your guys' fault because you both had feelings for each other. And I mean, but, like, you can't really blame yourselves. I mean, you like each other. You can't help it. And, you know, Karen is talking to her boss and she's like, I want some overtime because, of course, you know, she needs to support her and Danny. And, you know, the boss is already, like, bosses are always creepy on these type of shows. But, yeah, the boss is just really creepy. And he's like, yeah, I have some late work for you to do. And I'm just like, oh, please. Like, he just wants you to work late so he can hook up with you. Or so he can just stare at you all night. And I'm just like, typical TV show boss move. Typical boss move. And I thought it was really weird, you know, Joe's family decides to, Joe's mom and dad, decides to take her out for, you know, to the movies just to cheer her up or, you know, get her mind off of everything. And Tyler's there. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. So this is how it all happens. I mean, because, you know, in the previews you see them together. And I was just like, oh my gosh, what is he doing there? And, of course, he's with his, like, film club or whatever. And didn't expect it, but Joe decides to go with him. I mean, I guess I should have expected it. But Joe decides to ditch her mom and dad. And she's like, I'm just going to go hang out with Tyler. Because I've seen this movie like a billion times. And I'm just like, no. Tyler's not a good guy. And obviously, she's just using him as a rebound. So. Well, I mean, at least she was trying to get her mind off of things, but not the way she was supposed to. And, you know, I felt, you know, Lacey's just like a total outcast now to, I don't want to say the town, not the town, but, you know, to her whole school because, I mean, she hooked up with Socio. It's a big deal. Excuse me, And, you know, Danny's like, I have a plan and everything, and I'm just like, what could your plan possibly be to make anything better for you guys? But you eventually find that out. And I thought that was really awkward. You know, Joe's just sitting there and she's listening to the whole film club thing. And, you know, this one girl is like, but what is the concept of this movie? And Joe's like, it's a comedy. There is no concept. The concept is to be funny. And, you know, everyone's just looking at her like, shut up. Like, are you crazy? Like, where did you come from? Like, she's an alien or something, and she's just like, I'm gonna go get something to drink. You know, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. You know, Tyler goes with her, and I'm just like, so, like, they're just gonna flirt now? Like, Joe, you're just gonna choose Tyler? I mean, he's a nice guy to Joe, but as a person, he's not, because that whole Danny prank thing is like, still gets to me. And I was just like, oh my gosh. Stacy's plan was, you know, to have, like, a fake fight and stuff. And I'm just like, that was so awkward. Like, I can't even watch it because it's so fake. And I was, like, literally covering my eyes. I'm like, so fake, so fake, so fake, so fake. But, you know, I think Lacey actually hurt Danny's feelings, which, you know, you can tell because they closed up on his face when, she was like, I wish I never even met you and you never even came back to town and everything. And yeah, I'm just like, ooh, that really hurt Danny's feelings because they wouldn't close up on his face like that. Honestly, they wouldn't. And then, you know, everyone's like, woo, Lacey, like, we're really proud of you. And everyone just basically accepts her again. Whatever. or at least Archie does. And you know, Archie confesses about all the mothballs and stuff. But what he doesn't realize is that Cole is actually sitting a few seats behind Lacey, and of course Cole hears everything. But I'm like, Archie, everyone knows it was you. You just like, whatever. But I'm glad Cole knows the truth, cause you know, I mean, I think he already did. I mean, he knew it wasn't Danny, but yeah, I'm just really glad he overheard that, cause he needed to. And oh my gosh, you know, then Joe and Tyler, I guess the film club is over and everything. They're up in his room, and they just start making out and everything, and you know, gets heated, and you know, Joe's like, you know what, I can't do this, and she stops, and I'm like, I'm so glad they didn't do anything, because like, Joe would probably regret it. And you know, she gets up and leaves, and I'm just like, yay, nothing's gonna happen to them. And yeah, and then Scott's like really, I don't know, the things that Scott says is weird. You know, Cole confronts Archie about the mothballs, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, when Scott says, I wrote it down, he was like, that's your captain, like, you can't talk to him like that. And I'm just like, Scott, shut up. Like, what are you talking about? Like, who cares if that's your freaking captain of the team? He's still a person. You can talk to him any kind of way you feel like you should. I know that sounds bad, but you know what I mean. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, I honestly wanted someone to smack Scott, because that was like, I don't know what's the word for it, but I was just like, that doesn't make any sense. Just shut your mouth and sit there. And I was really glad that Lacey stuck up for Cole, I guess. I mean, but I don't understand. I mean, she had that whole, like, fake Danny fight. But I guess, okay, I guess it was, like, her and Danny, you know, they fight. Archie confides in her. He tells the truth. Cole overhears, and, you know, they basically spill the beans so everybody knows that Archie is the one who did the mothballs. But, yeah, I was like, I'm really glad that Lacey really isn't with them. I was like, I thought she went crazy for a second. I was like, if you think you're gonna go back to them, like, you're crazy. So glad she's not really on their side. And I was just like, I don't know why I wrote this. Like, this isn't a big deal, but I wrote, oh my gosh, Karen's boss is, you know, he's not paying his taxes, and, you know, he's lying to the IRS and everything. And I honestly think that Karen should totally tell, because maybe she'll be the new boss. I don't know, but yeah. I mean, it seems like every boss on a TV show, like, they're always creepy to, you know, the main girl co-worker, and they're always, like, stealing money from something, or, you know, taking money from people. It's just like, ugh, whatever. Like, I've already heard this story a bunch of times. And I thought it was really sad, you know, when Joe, she's like, I need to talk to you, Danny. And, you know, they have that talk, and, you know, Joe basically gets her closure. Because Danny's like, I like you as a sister, you know. Like, he just can't have that relationship with her. And I feel really bad for her. And, yeah. And I was just like, this really sucks, like. And I mean, all of this in the first season, I mean, they lost each other. Well, they were together when they were little kids, lost each other because of Danny, and they're back together, and now they lost each other because of Lacey. And it's like, this is like an on and off friendship. That's really weird. And I just felt really bad for Danny also, because, you know, he just lost Joe. I'm like, oh. And then you see Joe rebounding with Tyler, and I'm just like, no. Like, I thought you stopped because you really wanted to stop. You just stopped so you could go get closure, and then if he said he didn't want you were just gonna go and hook up with Tyler. No, that's not what you were supposed to do. And I wake up the next morning, and I thought it was cute, I guess, like, sucks that she did it, but I thought it was cute when she was like, you were my first everything. You know, she means first kiss, like, first time, like, first everything, basically. And I'm just like, I don't know. I guess it's okay that I was with Tyler, because Tyler really does care about Joe. Like, even though he pulled that crap, he really does care about Joe and everything. And I was just like, that's nice. I guess it was with an okay guy. And you know, then the police are after Danny and Karen. Well, you know, just Danny, but you know, they're like, the police are gonna be here in like 10 minutes or blah blah blah. And, you know, Karen's like, Danny, go get your stuff because we're leaving. Or, you know, at least he has to get out of the house because, you know, she doesn't want her son to go back to jail and everything. And yeah, and I'm just like, are they really gonna run? And I mean, but the police, you know, the detective just said that they're gonna be there in like 10 minutes. So I don't know, but they were really hustling. And Joe comes home, and, you know, Rico, he was waiting there for her all day long. And, you know, Joe tells Rico, I guess she forgives him and everything, and poor, awkward best friend Rico. He's just like, I love you. And she's like, what? I mean, in her mind, she's like, I love you too, Rico. But no, he meant, I love you. And she's like, what? I mean, she, you know, actually registers her, and he's like, I love you. I've loved you since this day, and, like, I love you because of this, and you're so beautiful and smart and pretty. And then, I mean, I don't know where his mind was, but you can clearly see Joe's face is shocked and worried because, you know, she just had sex with Tyler. So it's like, Rico, I just, you know, like, you can't tell me this after. And Rico kisses her, and it's like, that was the most awkward kiss ever because Joe still had that face on, and, you know, Rico just kisses her, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And I mean, even if, I mean, probably not, but, you know, even if Joe had some feelings for Rico, like, she was just with Tyler. Like, you can't tell her that right after. Oh my gosh. Like, all these friendships are broken. The only people that are friends now is Danny and Lacey. The most unlikely couple. I'm just like, oh my gosh, Rico, you just, like, I felt so bad for him. And, you know, they switch back to Lacey, and Phoebe comes in her room, and, you know, Phoebe's basically like, Lacey, I'm actually on your side. I mean, of course she's not gonna say it in public. I mean, you don't want to lose your friends, too. But, yeah, and Phoebe's like, I understand, because, you know, like the flashback, she's been in her shoes before and everything. And, yeah, and then Phoebe remembers something, which is a huge deal. Huge, huge deal. And, she's like, Regina got hurt because of somebody that dropped her off one day. You know, it was a Connecticut license plate, which is where Vikram's address led to, and she remembers the address. You can clearly see it. Well, I don't know if she remembers it, but, you know, they clearly focus on the license plate. And what happens? They switch to a new scene, same license plate, but it's the detective's car. And it's like, what? Like, who the heck is this detective? Like, I already said this. I was like, I knew she was really creepy from the beginning, because it's like, what are you up to? Like, you're not just oh, you know, just bringing in a new detective. No, you're a detective that's connected somehow. Just, oh my gosh. I can't wait till it comes back on. But, oh my gosh, like the most unexpected thing ever. Tessa's basically, you see her pacing back and forth, and, you know, she's looking for something, and honestly, I thought she was looking for a drug so she could, you know, just get high so her mind wouldn't think about everything. No, she picks up the pot, which I was like, oh, okay, that's where she has her stash. No, there's her freaking phone number on the bottom, and then I thought, was that Karen's pot, and Karen wrote a secret number on it? No, she wrote the number on it. And guess whose phone number it is? It's Vikram's. Because Tess knows he's alive, and she's like, I think you need to come home now. And I'm like, what the heck? Like, you can't be Joe's mom and freaking be in an alliance with Vikram. Like, that doesn't make any sense. And I know I'm getting really loud, but it's just, it really angers me. Like, how are you Joe's mom and you're doing this to her? You're doing this to Danny. She's in love with freaking Danny, and you're... Like, seriously? If minds could really explode from, like, overload, my mind would have exploded right after this, because it was already pumped up from Pretty Little Liars, and No, these endings are just too much for me to handle, and I honestly want to cry. I do. Too much for me to handle. I mean, I can't handle that Ezra's A and that Ezri is actually back together at the same time. And I can't handle that Tess knows Vikram is alive. And she probably knows everything that's happening. And she knows that he killed Regina. And she knows everything. And she's not saying poop. Don't want to say the real word. Just, you can't, like, the one person you would not expect it from. Karen, maybe. It would still be shocking, but Karen's already a shady person. But Tess is the sweet mom who cares about everyone. And she's probably the shadiest person of them all. She probably has more secrets than Karen. Just, I mean, you know, when Karen was with Vikram, Tess was cheating with Vikram, so... Sorry. I needed a moment of silence. It's just... I'm gonna go now, because if I don't, my mind will seriously explode, and I can't deal. I can't think about this. I'm pulling out my notes, because I can't think about this. Toodles. Sorry, that was bad. Toodles!